But the chief priests and elders replied, "Of what concern is that to us? Behold, it is up to you what you want to do to live in peace with yourself." And Judah Iscariot wept and fled from there, and soon he hanged himself from a tree branch in the field of the potter beyond the walls of the city. The chief priests, however, took the pieces of silver and said, "It is useless to put them into the collection box, because this is blood money. What shall we do with it?" Then one of the sons of the elders came forth and said, "El followed Judah Iscariot, and he has hanged himself from a tree branch in the field of the potter." Thereupon Caiaphas, the high priest, said, "Well then, give this blood money to the potter and buy his field with it for the burial of strangers." At dawn the following day the business matter was settled, and Judah Iscariot, the betrayer of Jmmanuel, was the first to be buried in the field. But the chief priests and elders of the council spread the news among the people that Judas Iscariot, the disciple of Jmmanuel, had hanged himself as Jmmanuel's betrayer and was hurriedly buried in the field of the potter. The people believed this talk, and they said, "He betrayed his friend for pieces of silver, and it serves him right that he hanged himself. He has taken a blood guilt upon himself, and so from now on the field of the potter shall be known as the field of blood." Before Pilate. Jmmanuel, however, was brought before Pilate, the governor, who asked him, "Are you Jmmanuel, whom they call the King of Wisdom?" He said, "As you say. This is what the people call me." And Pilate asked and spoke, "Is it also said that you were begotten by the angel Gabriel, who is an angel of God?" But he said, "As you say." Pilate inquired once again, saying, "Let us hear your wisdom, for your teachings are new to me." Jmmanuel spoke, "Behold, aeons ago, I returned from the realm of the higher world in order to fulfill a difficult task, and now I was begotten by a celestial son to be a prophet in this life. This came to pass according to destiny and the desire of God, the ruler over the three lineages of terrestrial humans procreated by him. Through his kindness, I have added to my knowledge in this incarnation by gaining great insight and learning true wisdom, which was imparted to me by his teachers over a period of 40 days and 40 nights. Furthermore, I have traveled extensively to faraway places and lived for many years in the land of India. There I was taught much knowledge and many secrets by the great wise and knowledgeable men who are known as masters. When I have fulfilled my mission here, I will return there with Thomas, my brother, who is a faithful disciple of mine." When they heard Jmmanuel's speech, the elders and chief priests became very agitated and shouted in front of Pilate, "Do you hear his blasphemy?" Thereupon Pilate asked him, "Don't you hear how harshly they accuse you? Don't you wish to justify yourself?" Jmmanuel answered him, saying, "Behold, I will carry my burden as it is destined. But it is also true that many do oppose me and will testify falsely against me, whence I will not find justice. Truly, I say to you, many dogs will kill a hare, regardless of how many turns it makes. It is also customary among humans that the most righteous person does not find justice, because it doesn't matter whether many or few testify against him, as long as they were highly regarded. Justice rules only in the laws of nature, because they are the laws of creation. But among humans there is little justice, and it is decided according to their social status and their wealth. Therefore I ask you, how could I expect justice by this standard?" Pilate said, "Judging from the way you speak, you are very wise and I see no fault in you. I question the teaching you just uttered, but in this, too, I see no guilt, for everyone should find salvation according to their faith. But since you have nothing to say regarding your innocence that would counter the denunciation of the chief priests and the elders, I see no hope for you, because there was my command, to which I must be obedient." But Jmmanuel did not answer him, which surprised the governor very much. The conviction of Jmmanuel. At the time of the Passover feast, Governor Pilate customarily released to the people whichever prisoner they most wanted, except for those guilty of murder or of causing death. At this time he held a special prisoner by the name of Barabbas. And when the people were gathered, Pilate asked them, "Which one do you want me to release, Barabbas, the criminal, or Jmmanuel, who is said to be a king of wisdom and the son of an angel?" But he well knew that the chief priests and elders had bribed the people by giving them copper, gold and silver, so they would plead for the release of Barabbas and the death of Jmmanuel. For he well knew that they had turned him over out of envy and hatred, since his teachings appealed to the people. His wife had also implored Pilate by saying, "Have nothing to do with this righteous man, for today I suffered greatly in my dreams because of him, and I find that his teachings are good." Therefore, he was favorably inclined toward Jmmanuel. But among the people there was much screaming, and he asked once again, "Which one shall I release to you?" Slowly the screaming stopped, and the governor raised his voice a third time, asking, "Which one of these two shall I release?" And the people screamed, "Release Barabbas." And Pilate asked them, "Thus it shall be. But what shall I do with him who is said to be Jmmanuel, a king of wisdom?" And the people shouted, "Crucify him! Have him crucified!" But the governor was not willing and asked very angrily, "What evil has he done that you want him crucified?" "He only taught a new doctrine, and for this he should suffer death." Where then is the freedom of speech, thought and opinion? But the people screamed even louder, "Have him crucified! Have him crucified!" When Pilate realized there was great unrest and turmoil and that he could do nothing against the will of these people, who had been bribed, he took a pitcher of water and washed his hands before the people, saying, "You decide what should be done with him. He is the prisoner of the elders and chief priests, so let them judge him. I will have nothing to do with this just man. I am innocent of doing anything to him and wash my hands before you in innocence." But the people milled about, shouting, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Then Pilate turned Jmmanuel over to the chief priests and elders and released Barabbas to the people. And the chief priests and elders had Jmmanuel whipped and handed him over to be crucified. The people screamed and shouted and cursed Jmmanuel. However, the chief priests and elders indulged themselves in self-praise and were in good spirits because their intrigue had been successful. Chapter 30. Defamation of Jmmanuel. Prophetic declaration. The crucifixion. The governor's soldiers agreed with the chief priests and the elders and, dragging Jmmanuel with them into the courthouse, they brought the entire crowd in with him. They undressed him and put a purple mantle on him. They made a wreath of thorns, placed it on his head, put a reed into his right hand and, bending their knees before him, said, "We greet you, great King of wisdom of the Jews." And they spat on him, took the reed from his hand, and beat him on the head with it until blood ran down his face. When he was wretched and bleeding, Caiaphas, the high priest, asked, "How are you doing now, great King of wisdom?" But Jmmanuel was quiet and said not one word.